What's good, guys? Big Red Cluffy back in the building. Today is another sensitivity settings update. Now, as I say in all the rest of my sensitivity settings videos, these settings aren't for you to copy, but for you to go by, for you to work off of, to adjust your own sensitivity settings in order to get the best ones figured out for yourself. I'm just here to help, to explain, and describe what each sensitivity setting means for you to better understand it. Now, if you want to see what mine are, go ahead and check out the comment section below. I'll have it pinned up there if you guys just want to copy them. But for those of you who want to hear and figure out what all the sensitivity settings mean, please stay tuned to the video and I'll make sure I explain them as best as possible. Starting off with controller button preset. A lot of people started on type A and got used to type A before they switched over to type B. But for those of you who played a lot of old school first person shooters like Call of Duty, type B is the way to go. You hold down that left trigger, you aim down your sight and you take out enemies. The only hard part about type B is having to soft aim. You'll have to hold the LB button in order to soft aim, which isn't ideal for a lot of players. Also, when sniping, holding your breath is another difficult task because you'll have to use the claw effect. But that's something you could get used to over time. On to right stick dead zone. I have that at 12. Dead zones are basically the sensitivity of your thumbstick. The lower it is, the more slight you would have to push on your thumbstick to get your aimer moving. The higher the number is here, the more pressure you'd have to put on your thumbstick to really get your cursor moving in one direction. So what I'm saying is, if you are a person that kind of gets jittery when in a gunfight, the lower number isn't the best. But it's nice to have a lower number when a target is farther away, because the smaller the target, the harder it is to hit somebody with a higher dead zone. So adjust these, make it at 10, see what it feels like in training mode, and then put it at 50, see what it feels like, and put it at 100 and see what it feels like. You guys will easily understand what I mean, and you could adjust it however you want from there. Forward running sensitivity. I have mine at 25. The lower the number here, the harder it is to get your character to run in a forward direction. If you have this at a higher number, it's easier to run straight forward in a certain direction. Some of my viewers have also explained to me that if you have this at 25 or above, it's easier to parachute farther distances. If you have it at 0, it's much harder to parachute farther away. I don't know the reasoning, I don't know the science behind this, but I have tried it and I have noticed a difference. So if you guys want to try it out, check it out, please feel free. Movement sensitivity. I have mine at 75. If you have it at a lower number, you would have to push much farther on your thumbstick to get your character at a faster speed. The higher the number here, the less pressure you'd have to put on your thumbstick to get your character moving quicker. I have mine at 75 because if I'm looting and somebody starts shooting at me, I like to get out of dodge as quick as I can. And that's the reason why I have mine at 75. I would have it at 100, but sometimes when I'm walking through doors and walking towards loot, I tend to walk over it a bit and walk past it. So I bumped it down to 75. Vertical sensitivity multiplier. Alright guys, this really goes with recoil control. So if you're pulling the stick too far down and you're shooting the ground or your opponent's feet, then I suggest you put vertical sensitivity a little bit lower, maybe to 80 or 85. Check that out and see if that helps. Because if you have vertical sensitivity over 100, that means your vertical up and down sensitivity will be faster than your left and right. But if you go down with this, your vertical sensitivity will be slower than your left and right. So when you're shooting at an opponent, it'll be easier for you to control your up and down recoil if the number is under 100. General sensitivity is your general sensitivity of you looking around, looking for opponents without being aimed down your scope. So just a basic look around feature when jumping, through windows, when going inside of buildings, it's just looking left and right, up and down. Your sensitivity when throwing frag grenades, your sensitivity when flicking towards enemies behind you, flicking left and right, and also your sensitivity when spraying down targets and not aiming down your sight. Just your overall looking around sensitivity. In my experience, a lot of people do like this slower because a lot of people do get dizzy when looking too quickly left and right, and that's fine. But don't make it too slow to where you can't turn left and right quick enough to take out a simple target that's potatoing towards you. And don't make it too fast where you get too dizzy and can't control it. Find that middle balance just for you. Vehicle driver is when you're driving and looking around. simple. Aim acceleration I have on and at 4. Aim acceleration is basically if you hold your aimer in one direction for a decent amount of time, it speeds up over time. So if you're following a car, driving left to right, right to left, if you're aiming at a running target, going left to right, right to left, those simple aspects of the game. Just when you hold your aimer in one direction for a decent amount of time, it speeds up. 1x optics, 2x optics I have at 10. Now I sped this up by about 2 to 3 points from my last sensitivity video. Why? Because now that you have the option to only play Sanhok, you have a lot more closer range battles. And this I have at 10 because I could control a red dot and a 2x at a far distance to easily take enemies out, but I could also control it really close range to be able to trace targets at a close distance when they're moving at full speed. Now, I want you guys to keep in mind 1x are iron sights, hollow, red dot, and the VSS scope. So please keep that in mind. The 2x scope I don't like too much. I found it's just too bouncy and really hard to control at a farther distance, but up close it's pretty deadly. I have my 3x at 12. I really like the 3x for both full auto and single fire. Single fire on the MK Mutant and full auto on the G36 or QBZ. A lot of people don't like the scope of the 3x, but once you get used to it and start to love it, it's really simple to control. You just gotta find that perfect range of the hit scan. 4x scope I have at 8. This works just as well as the 3x scope, but for those of you who haven't really sprayed far distances with any scopes, start it off with the 3x and then work your way to the 4x. The 6x scope I have at 7. I am still getting really used to the 6x scope because now that I have upped my sensitivity by about 2 to 3 points, the 6x scope is a little harder to maneuver because of how tiny the dot is when aiming down the 6x scope. But I have enjoyed it on DMRs rather than bolt action snipers. The 8x scope has become my favorite scope out of all of them. It used to be the 6x, but now it's the 8x. Ever since I upped my 4x, 6x, and 8x sensitivities, my sniping has been a lot more accurate and enjoyable. I take less time to aim and spend more time kind of flicking towards my opponents. Because even though I upped my scopes just a little bit, it's still really easy to get used to and control over time. Now, this didn't take me 2 to 3 games to get used to any of these guys. I upped all my sensitivity settings and it took me about 2 days. 2 days of playing a lot of gameplay until I got used to these. So keep that in mind when changing your sensitivity settings and don't rush to change anything back to where you started. Give yourself time to get used to it. Have some terrible games because adjusting them and thinking you're going to get better in seconds is not how it works. You got to play a lot of games until you get used to your change. But that's it for today's video, guys. I hope this video helped. If you have any more questions or concerns, please hit the comment section below and I'll be glad to answer them. Thanks for checking out the video. Sub to the channel if you haven't already. Pop a like to this video. I'm shooting for 50 likes, so help me achieve that goal. And if you guys already subbed, make sure you hit that bell for a little ring-a-ding-ding to get notified when the next video of mine goes live. And for those of you who do not know, I do stream live pretty much every single day. So here's my live stream schedule. So come in, check me out, say what's up, and I'll see you guys there. Peace. You are in trouble.